Hello and welcome to Total Football Analysis. In this video we will take a closer look at Martin Odegaard and how he could fit into Zinedine Zidane's Real Madrid. This analysis is part of our Total Football Analysis 2020 magazine. Check out the link in the video description to read or download the magazine for free. Even though Ødegaard was primarily a right winger, seeing how he spent the majority of his career on that flank, his role has somewhat changed over the years and he has transitioned to more of an attacking midfielder and a more traditional number 10. Now he mostly positions himself just behind the striker in Real Sociedad's 4-2-3-1 and can either drift wide or stay centrally with a largely free role to move across the final third. His skill set allows him to attack from both the central and the wide channels, as well as drop deep to help progress the ball and fuel the build-up. Ødegaard is known for his excellent passing capabilities, as well as extraordinary technique and dribbling skills. The only thing that he still has to further develop are the defensive contributions, but with Real Sociedad's system, revolving around good counter-pressing tactics, he's the man to often snatch the ball in the opposition's half, but not always the first to track back and defend in deeper areas. In the following, we will go through the main systems that Zidane could potentially use to incorporate the 20-year-old starlet into his lineup. Zidane's most used lineup in the 2019-20 campaign is the traditional 4-3-3 with a front three comprising of two wide players and a number 9 in the form of Karim Benzema. With the introduction of Ødegaard into this system, it is likely that Zidane would deploy him as a right winger. In this scenario, Ødegaard would have free rein over the right flank, but would mostly still be able to drift inside and position himself behind Benzema. This would be a necessity as Real Madrid almost exclusively play with attacking fullbacks who overlap and charge into the final third. Ødegaard drifting towards the middle channel would then open the path for Daniel Carvajal to burst into, while the youngster would then slot into his usual position behind the striker. We have seen him do that before and back during his national team endeavors. For Norway, Ødegaard would sometimes be deployed as an out-and-out winger, but only on paper. Notice here how he receives the ball deeper and then cuts inside for his teammate to overlap and burst into space. This is something that Zidane should definitely look to utilize. Moreover, we would likely see interchanges between Ødegaard and Hazard, with Ødegaard often setting up the Belgian on the other side with long and accurate balls into space, as he can be seen doing the same for Real Sociedad in this example. Of course, this works with both Hazard and Marcelo, as it is likely that Ødegaard would be picking up either of the two with his precise passes. Finally, we could see him combine well with Hazard or Benzema surging forward and the midfielder feeding them with through balls behind the defensive line. You can see here how a transition is immediately started with Ødegaard. Even though the 4-3-3 with him as the right winger is not exactly the way to go, Zidane could also make it work with slight tweaks with the positioning and roles of his forward line. Arguably the most suitable system for Ødegaard to thrive in at Real Madrid is the 4-4-2 diamond. In such a setup, Ødegaard would get his preferred number 10 position at the tip of the diamond and would then be deployed just behind Hazard and Benzema in the forward line. Interestingly enough, we've seen Real Madrid in this exact setup in the Champions League when they faced Paris Saint-Germain, and at the heart of that team was Isco. Against PSG, Isco had a free rein across the final third and would even drop deep to collect the ball and assist in the build-up. His task was to break the lines or position himself between them and then feed the attacking duo with balls from his platform. Here Isco receives the ball and his task is to control it under pressure and then lay it off for one of his teammates making the run. When we take a look at his action and pass map from the game against PSG, we can see that Isco is very much marshalling the pitch, moving from one side to the other, dropping deep and surging forward when needed. This role would be perfect for Ødegaard on paper. We've already discussed how he likes to receive the ball in deeper areas and then progress it forward. Off the ball, however, we can often see him around zone 14 and just behind the strikers. This is where he's most dangerous. Notice in this example how he plays a quick 1-2 with his teammate and then surges forward from a deeper position to fill the space in between the lines where he can be an immediate danger for the opposition. Also notice here how he is able to break multiple lines with a simple smart pass that finds his forward and lands directly at his feet. This is the kind of passing that Real Madrid would need from their number 10 and is something that Isco has always been able to give them. A lot has already been said about Ødegaard being Modric's successor at Real Madrid. In a scenario in which he replaces Modric in the lineup, Ødegaard would most likely be deployed next to Toni Kroos and just ahead of Casemiro. But if we directly compare the two player profiles of Modric and Ødegaard, it is pretty obvious that they are not really exactly alike. Ødegaard is an advanced playmaker, while Modric is more of a box-to-box midfielder when compared to the youngster. Modric is like a midfield general, pulling the strings, dictating play, and is a utility man at the same time, meaning that he can slot across various positions on the pitch and fill the voids he should not be able to on paper. Ødegaard is highly involved in his team's attack, but Modric's involvement is felt in all phases of the game, from the defensive duties to the build-up play, and finally in the final product as well. This is even more evident when we take a look at one of his pass and duel maps. We can see a variety of pass types all across the pitch and duels from his box to the edge of the opponents. When we compare it to a fairly average pass map from Ødegaard, it is pretty clear that he still has not experienced that kind of responsibility, despite being a star player practically everywhere he went. One thing that's worth noticing is how Ødegaard often keeps to his side of the pitch and rarely goes deep into his own defense to challenge for the ball. For instance, with Ødegaard jogging back and not even in the frame in this situation, the opposition winger can combine with either of his teammates easily, as it's a 3 vs 3 situation before enough Real Sociedad troops can return to their shape. For that reason, the Luka Modric role might not be an option for Ødegaard just yet. All in all, Ødegaard might definitely be among the best talents currently playing his trade in La Liga or even in Europe as a whole. There would certainly be a place for him at Real Madrid, but Zidane would definitely have to make some tweaks to his tactics and the system he likes to use to accommodate the youngster.